Biggest lesson is if you're going to go into a business, not just understand the business, but understand the formula that's required to make it work. So yes, we did build business. I ended up learning how to build custom motorcycles, and I do have a design skill or talent that, we built some cool stuff for some cool people, won some nice awards, but what I didn't have right was the formula, which really came down to overhead outpaced production.
This is Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgensen.
Welcome out to Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio. I'm your host, Tyler Jorgensen, and today I get to introduce you to someone I'm a huge fan of. This guy has built legendary motorcycles for famous people. He has built SaaS businesses that have impacted in a positive way small businesses across the country. And he's just a heartfelt, good human. So welcome out to the show, Dar Holdsworth.
Thank you so much. When you say it, it's hard for me to keep a straight face. You say it with such, I'm like, oh, okay.
It is hard to listen when somebody introduces you, but I'm with you. But dude, I'm so excited to have you on the show. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to go through it all. And so I want to know, the very first question is, when was that first moment in your life where you realized you were an entrepreneur?
When my first son was born.
Okay.
Yep.
So what happened?
Well, I was working for a company, a signage company. So right out of the Air Force, I went to work for a signage and display company. And that company got bought out by another company. And this is store fixtures and point of sale signage and so forth for retailers. And I ended up being a regional West Coast salesperson for that company. Then I moved back to Oklahoma to work for a smaller signage company, but as their national sales manager, and developed their network. And I just had this feeling that I wanted to do my own thing, and I needed the thing to push me over the edge. So my first son was being born. I was like, I gotta do this now. So I sold my car, which, by the way, I loved. I had an Infiniti Q45 back when the Infiniti Q45 was a sedan baller. And I sold that for a Mitsubishi Galant because Mitsubishi had a buy it now, don't make a payment for a year promo. So I'm like, I did that for no car payment. And I had about $12,000 in available credit card spending. I'm like, if I need to make a house payment, what? And so I just did it right then. I'm like, here we go. And it paid off. Actually,
what was that first business?
So it was a signage business.
Okay. So you stuck with what you knew.
Stuck with what I knew.
Okay.
And the company was called Grand Central. Now here's some craziness. So my largest client was Bombay Company, but I worked for Bombay Company, Pier 1 Imports, Radio Shack, Sears Hardware, the national chain retailers. Yeah. I would design their signage and their store fixtures.
Okay.
And then I would have them manufactured at various manufacturers.
Yep.
And then have it kit packed and drop shipped to all their stores. And it was crazy successful. And I didn't realize at that time that it was successful. Like I knew it was okay, but I'm like, looking back on it now, I'm like, whoa, I did pretty good. And at the time it was happening, I'm like, well, isn't everyone's business like you start out? But I just happened to be, yes, I worked hard, but I happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Well, and you were smart. A lot of people, when they launch their first business, they don't launch it in what they already know. They have some idea that they want to go tackle, but you built with what you knew. And so what was the first major obstacle that you faced in your entrepreneurial journey, and how'd you overcome that?
It would be in that same business.
Yeah.
The first major obstacle was that I had business coming in, so I wasn't hustling business. I was just like taking care of things. Like POs would come in, $60,000, $20,000, $80,000. And I was doing around 3 million and like 2.8 to 3.4 million a year with like 3 employees.
Oh, wow.
And it was great, but I was like, it was enough. And so what happened was my largest client filed bankruptcy, and they were 1.8 million of that. And it was all of a sudden, whoo, and then I'm struggling to find.
Yeah, it's hard to
Right.
replace.
And then I did replace it with a contract, $1 million contract from Gymboree, the kids' clothing stores.
Yep.
They were opening up a chain like for tweeners I think it was called Crazy 8 or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, so I got the contract to do, I don't know, 15 stores worth or 20 something stores worth. And one of my vendors, a small metal vendor, like packed that with the wood stuff. And they, anyway, they didn't have the space to pack the metal stuff that came from the metal company and left outside and rusted. And then they shipped it to the stores.
Even though it had rusted.
And so Gymboree canceled that project. So now I was $1.8 million customer, then $1 million customer. Honestly, while all this was going on, I was going through a divorce. And so all that is like, I'm like riding high, and then out of nowhere, it gets pulled out from under me. And that was the first major, like, whoa.
That's huge, right? I mean, that is enough that would send most people running for the hills, and they're out of the industry. They're like, I'm done, never doing this. But what did you do? How did you overcome it?
Well, so while all this was going on, because this went over, like 7-month period, I had started, I had gotten into the hobby of custom motorcycles.
Okay.
I had bought a custom motorcycle. I'm like, this is great. I want to know how does it work? How does this? So I started honestly, I went to a guy in like a legendary drag racer custom bike builder, happened to be in Oklahoma City. And I was like, can you show me how to build bikes? And he was like, no. I'm like, show you. I'm like, no, really, I'll pay you if I can just come over to your shop and carve a corner of the shop, and I'll pay you to teach me how to do this. I don't remember all the details of it, but his name's Sam, and he obliged. And so I started like tinkering with learning how to build. He's probably like, who's this crazy business guy who's over here trying to build bikes? But that was, and so while all this has happened, I had built a couple and sold a couple of them. And this is where, when the business was on fire, and I'm like, corporate America's screwing me, my ex-wife's screwing me, blah, blah, blah. Losing POs to anyone who's a penny less. I'm like, these people I'm building motorcycles for, they love it.
Right.
It feels great to me. And so the next thing, I'm like, I'm going to be a custom motorcycle builder. Man, when I say stupid, like I just went into it in this emotional decision.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the industry. And I did this a year before the economy, I did that in 2007.
So when you're starting, money's flush. Everyone's spending crazy money. It was a wild time. 2006 and 2007, you could sell anything to anyone. It felt like, money was just abound. It was everywhere. So then you built some pretty cool bikes, and bikes that made it on, magazines and like TV shows, all kinds of stuff. And so that was one of those really fun projects, but probably painful in the ending. What was the biggest lesson you learned in doing that?
So the biggest lesson is like if you're going to go into a business, not just understand the business, but understand the formula that's required to make it work. So yes, we did build I ended up learning how to build custom motorcycles, and I do have a design skill or talent that, we built some cool stuff for some cool people, won some nice awards, but what I didn't have was the formula, which really came down to overhead outpaced production, right? So I'm building custom motorcycles. I don't have millions of dollars in inventory. When someone orders a custom motorcycle, I'm like, okay, which engine are we using? Which transmission are we using? What wheels are we doing? Right? And so we have to order all that stuff, wait from those parts to come in from 40 different suppliers, build that bike, and do it while I'm paying, rent and employees and general liability insurance and so forth. And so it just came down to that, like overhead outpaced production. Yeah.
And so you learned that, and, I know you got into other things. You've done. I don't think it was a direct route from motorcycle into launching this most recent SaaS that you sold.
Right.
But what were some of the things when you made those mistakes? You move forward. You keep learning. Right. What were you seeing in that process as the constant that kept pulling you through?
Well, when I was in the motorcycle industry, there were times when like we weren't going to make it, and then there was something that would happen to be like, oh, this is the thing that right. Like we shot a pilot for the Discovery Channel when they were doing bike build-offs. We did a bike build-off. We won the bike build-off. They came out they shot a pilot for a show for us to have our own show, and they wanted me and my wife to like, because my wife worked with me. They wanted us to fight, and I'm like, we're not going to fight. And our pilot actually made it to like the top tier of Discovery, but they were like, not enough drama. We're going somewhere else. But at that point, I was like, oh, that's going to do that. And that didn't happen. And then the year we won our second world championships of custom bike building, we were also doing stuff for veterans. I'm a veteran. I would support veteran charities. And Toby Keith also supported charity that I did. Rest in peace, Toby Keith. But Toby reached out to me and was like, hey, man, I want to be part of what you're doing with your American-made custom badass motorcycles that win world championships and you support vets. So Toby and I had a deal where we were going to be business partners, announced it on stage, did a press release, the whole thing.
Wow. And
after that, we due diligence of that for 6-8 months, that his people scrapped it. They were like, sorry, man, we just can't do this because there's just too much liability involved. We make way more money selling T-shirts where no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
We were not going to make any money selling these bikes. And if someone gets hurt, they're going to sue Toby. So that also was like, oh, that was a letdown.
Yeah.
But we got to a point where I was like 3 house payments behind. And like, this is not going to, I got to do something different. So I took a job with a company that allowed me to continue to run my bike business, but be their national sales manager selling superchargers for Jeeps. Okay. And so I would take trips and go to Moab and sell superchargers with Jeeps and stuff. But what was I going to say? During this time, I'm like, I got to figure out, I'm not selling enough bikes. I need to sell parts because everyone with a Harley Davidson wants to customize their bike with air cleaners and grips and pegs. And so I'm going to take my know-how and our pedigree of our championships, and I'm going to design parts and sell those parts. And so I did that, and we actually did well through distributors because we had connections with all these distributors, but I didn't do well actually online. I'd sell 1 or 2 parts a week. So I just got curious about how can I sell parts. And that led me to find .com secrets.
Okay.
So I did my first film. I'll talk faster because I know we had 20
No,
minutes.
You're doing great. I'm loving hearing the story.
So I got it, and I'm technically challenged. I mean, as Matt said, I was a technical caveman, and I read .com secrets. I'm like, oh, okay. So I bought ClickFunnels, as we all do, and I had my $97 a month subscription, and I got into it, and I got stuck, and I got confused, and I just went on with other stuff. And so we're like 6 months in of me paying this subscription, and my money's tight. My wife's like, hey, this ClickFunnels thing, you need to cancel it. I'm like, oh no, but I've got my funnel hacker shirt. I'm like, she was like, you have a $600 shirt.
Yeah.
She was like, figure it out or cancel it. Like, figure it out this weekend or cancel it. And so I'm like, okay. So I get in with my, dyslexia, ADHD, trying to figure it out. And I'm like, all right, I figured it out. And I'm like, I'm going to run a free plus shipping offer. And I built my funnel out. And so I'm on a Friday, I'm like, all right, honey, here we go. I'm going to run this out and it's going to be a thing. And she was like, temper your expectations. Like, you might sell a few more things, but it's, she's always out. I'm like, all right, here we go. So on Friday, I just put an announcement out to our followers, and I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm giving it to you for free. You just pay the shipping. And you all know how free plus shipping works, or some people do. And I mean, we had to turn it off. We sold out. It was crazy. And at that point, that's when it clicked. I'm like, whoa, like a funnel and a value. And then they come in and then an upsell and then and I'm like,
did you have some good upsells in that funnel or?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
I gave them a free thing. In fact, I wish I had one here to show you.
Yeah.
A points cover because I had a great logo. Damn it. I wish I had one here to show you.
It's all right.
Such a great logo. And I had a points cover that I sold for $40. And it was sand cast. I had it made in Canada. I got it for $8. So I told people, you can have this for free. You just pay the $10 shipping and handling. And why am I doing this? Because I think once you see the quality of this, you're going to want my other stuff. So they would come into the funnel to get their free thing, and they'd have to answer a question. What bike are you putting this on?
Very smart.
A Sportster, a Fat Boy, a this, a that, a custom chopper. And then based on that answer, it'd be like, okay, well, you might like the grips we have for this. You might like the air cleaner we have for that. And they would, and it was like an up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yep.
And it was,
that's a pretty solid first funnel, man. Most people's first funnel is not that good.
Man, this popped up on my thing the other day. If I can find it real quick. And I'm like, whoa, it's my original sketch to that funnel, like handwritten.
So in building that out and finally doing it, it was like, okay, this internet might actually be something, right? Because all your other businesses that you'd been doing, you're an excellent salesperson, but it all required you to be face-to-face, talking, doing the deals. So this one gave you that belief that, okay, online sales can do a thing.
But then here's what happened. But what I realized, because I didn't have any employees at that point because we had to let everyone go. So it's just me and my wife in this building, and I'm doing this while I have a full-time job. And so guess who's packing all those parts nights and weekend? Me. So I'm grateful that I have the business, but under my breath, I'm cussing every pack. I'm like, I hate packing. Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm reading expert secrets at the time, and where it's like, someone wants to know how to build a birdhouse. You can sell them the instructions how to build a birdhouse.
Yep.
And they just click a button and that's it. And you don't have inventory, and I'm like, my mind's just like, whoa, really? Like the potato gun, you know the story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. And so I just started, but I didn't have any confidence in myself as the expert, because even though I had this successful business years before that did, $2-3 million a year, I also was struggling. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'm not expert, but I know other people who are experts. And so I just started testing out this informational side of it, building funnels with I had built the bike for the personal trainer for Ludacris. And so I was helping him with fitness stuff. For an accountant, I was doing a program with him, and my chiropractor who was like, hey, the things that you're doing for the fitness guy, the things you're doing for the tax guy, can you do some of that for me? It's like, sure. And so that's kind of what got me into the chiro, because as I was doing the stuff for the chiropractor, he's like, man, this is great. I know some other chiropractors that might like to have this. He was like, how about we partner up? I'm like, sure. I'm like, well, a little bit. I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
So he introduced me to some other chiropractors, and that was the evolution. Chiro dominance was starting to evolve. COVID hit. And at that time, I had pulled back to break even in the bike business. Didn't know anything. Didn't know, right? But we were making money, but COVID was like, what's going to happen? The world's going to end. Right. And I was faced with ordering another $250,000 worth of inventory. And I'm like, I can't order this inventory and not know what's going to happen.
Yep.
So my God, I know I'm just rambling on.
No, you're doing great.
Okay. So anyway, the guy who built my custom seats for the bikes, amazing leather craftsman. Check him out. Hicks Design. Amazing. Kyle was like, hey man, this COVID thing, I'm going to have to close up shop. I don't know what I'm going to do. No. And I had just seen a thing about some shops in LA that were retooling to make masks. Like rather than making parachutes, which was their main business, I was like, Kyle, you make masks. He was like, well, I wouldn't know how to sell them. He goes, let's team up. And he was like, I'll make the masks and you do the thing that you do. And so in one weekend, we went down to the shop, we designed a mask that, because he has the laser cutting machines, the sewing machines, all that stuff.
Yep.
We designed the mask. I shoot a couple videos. I do the funnel, and I launch ads on a Monday. And in 4 weeks, we did $103,000 in masks.
Yeah.
And that was my kicking off point to be like, I'm closing the bike business. I'm taking my half of this $100,000. I'm going all in on the SaaS world with high level.
Yeah. That's awesome. A lot of people that tried the mask thing came in late when, Facebook was shutting it down, merchant processors were shutting it down. It got really messy.
So I was 2 months before and I felt like, oh, we came in too late. We couldn't but we still had our run. Because the thing is, because of the bike business, I already had
the accounts were live.
ShipStation for shipping. I already had all that stuff. And I was running ads, but Facebook shut us down too.
Yep.
Because of all the people that were scamming people. There was too much.
Yeah, there was scam. And what was happening is Facebook always works really hard to make sure that the users don't get inundated with negative things, right? They don't want just every ad being of how you need to lose weight and every ad being right. So because of that, because they are such a dopamine centered addiction, right? They want people feeling good. Anything that became negative or health related, they tend to shut down. But anyway, that's awesome that you made
shut that down. That just okay, well, we had a good run.
Yeah.
About a month later, they came back to us and were like, "Oh, you can." I'm like,
it's done. You can't redo it once you get the momentum once. But that's good that you had that win.
I did them for Sylvester Stallone. We did them where we painted the Rocky on his printed. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so then you went in, and now you casually mentioned in your story that you did a funnel and worked a little bit with your chiropractor. But how did you choose that as the niche that you were going to focus on? And tell us a little bit about that.
Actually, I didn't. I would tell people it chose me because I wasn't intentional about it. I'm like, sure, let's do it. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I would never choose that niche again.
Right.
Nothing about the chiropractors, but they're just easier games to play.
Sure.
Right. In the medical niche, you've got to be HIPAA compliant.
Yep.
We ended up having to build integrations into other medical EHR software companies. It was a big pain.
Yeah, there's a lot of obstacles there.
And so, but I didn't know that. I was just like, okay, next step. But that's, we ended up serving a few hundred people, companies, and learned a lot, but I wouldn't choose it again.
No, and I get that. And it's funny because everyone hears that. It's similar when you read the 4-Hour Workweek and Tim Ferriss talks about how he did supplements, but he tells everyone don't do supplements. But almost everyone still goes and does supplements because they're not good at taking and applying somewhere else. They're better just copying. And so I've heard that all the time. Don't do dentist, don't do chiropractor. And then so many people go for it because they're like, well, there's an opportunity. I'm like, yeah, but like you said, there are easier games to play. And I think unless you are already a huge expert or you have the team and all those kind of things, those are the people that have the opportunity to go into those more aggressive spaces. Right. But if you're a solopreneur or small team, pick an easier game.
Absolutely.
And so you're helping other people with this now. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing now.
Yeah. So after I sold the chiropractor business, myself and my buddy, Matt DeCito, shout out to Matt. We were business partners in Chiro Dominance, and we sold it, got acquired. And so my main focus has been helping other agencies how to launch and scale a SaaS business, but now an AI SaaS business because, look, this is the world we live in now.
Yeah.
And you can deliver so many wins with AI voice and AI chat and AI reviews. And so I took what I learned in my previous 4 years as a SaaS owner and have adapted that to AI SaaS agency. And I coach other companies that want to learn how to use high level to launch an AI SaaS agency, and whether it's a side gig for them or whether it's an additional revenue source to an agency they already have, that's where I get a lot of fulfillment. I have to tell you, I'm kind of half-heartedly into something else. But that is, I keep telling my students, man, if I were to do it again, I here's what I would focus on, and here's the AI I'd focus on, and blah, blah, blah. And it's a blue ocean opportunity because these businesses haven't heard this offer before. And I said it enough that I'm like, maybe I should do another SaaS company.
Yeah.
Like, oh, right. And so I'm like, well, I'll just kind of halfway do it. I'll do it as an example to show my students so they can see the steps.
Yep.
Build the agency. Here's the snapshot. And so I've done that, and I've gotten, I have a handful of customers that we do for validity, but also for, to show my students what to do. But there's a part of me that's like, maybe I should really push it because I've done it before and I could grow it and sell it. And then kind of bringing it full circle. So that what I'm talking about there is a horizontal niche. It's bizdominance.ai. It's just horizontal for any business because I haven't really chosen a niche.
Yep.
And recently, and I mean recently, I've been getting, Facebook and Apple and all the pushing memories to, your memories on your phone. Sturgis Bike Week just happened a month ago. And I see people that I used to, I was at Sturgis Bike Week for 12 years in a row. And I don't really want to go back and set up a tent on the asphalt pavement and hook them up, trying to sell my stuff.
Yep.
But I do miss the visceralness of building the bikes, riding. When I was doing superchargers for Jeep, I miss, I'm a car guy, I'm a bike guy. And so I'm like, I wonder what some of these people are doing now. Because when I left like I closed the door because mentally in order to go to do new thing, I couldn't have.
I think it's really the only way to move forward. Yeah. Otherwise you always keep a foot in it.
And so it occurred to me, I'm like, this is just in the past few weeks. I'm like, let me see what some of these people are doing. Manufacturers I used to buy from, dealers I used to sell to, and almost none of them have AI web chat widgets on their websites.
Yeah, it sounds like you just found a really good opportunity to like blend all your years of experience. Yeah. Now we're coming to the end. And so I want everyone to please go check out Dar at darholdsworth.com. We're going to link it everywhere. But Dar, to me, all of these things that we suffer and sacrifice for and work hard to create businesses and go through the challenges of being an entrepreneur, it's about creating a life we actually love. Mm-hmm. What's one item on your personal bucket list that you're going to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Oh, gosh. Personal bucket list that I'm going to accomplish. Oh, man. Gosh, God. Personal or professional?
Personal, like a trip you want to go on or something you want to do for you.
I don't know, because I'm always doing for my family.
Well, that they count too. Yeah. They're allowed to go with you if you want.
Are they?
Yeah.
I'll say get a new 911 because I've been wanting that for a long time and I keep putting it off. Daughter's education, other things, catching up, building retirement up that I didn't have when I was in the bike business. So even though we have good revenue that comes in, I just do the responsible things with it.
You don't have to explain or justify that. I think that's a noble goal. You deserve to reward yourself. What's the spec?
The spec would be a driver car.
Okay.
Like manual. It's got to be a manual. I wouldn't
like the GT3 RS or what are you looking?
No, I don't quite need that.
Okay.
And here's why. Crazy enough. Lesson learned in the bike business. I know we're going to be quick. We built some of the biggest, baddest bikes. That had crazy horsepower and all kinds of stuff. But you could never get out of second gear. It was like, and that would be it. Like, I got all this power. I found that I had the most enjoyment when we did like restorations of an old 1975 Honda CB550.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of power, but I could go through all the gears. So as long as I have enough power, but I can have the experience. So for me, it'd be like probably Carrera T.
Nice.
Or, I'm sorry, 911T.
Yeah.
Right. Which is more of a stripped down version just above the base model, but just a driver's car.
But a fun to drive car. Well, Dar, I'm so excited that you've made some of these moves. I'm grateful that you're out there serving and helping other people. I hope you keep building for you as well. Everyone go check out Dar at darholdsworth.com.
Man, thank you so much for having me on, Tyler. You are one of my favorite people. I wish you nothing but the best.
I love it. Thank you, Dar. And to all my Biz Ninjas, wherever you're tuning in, watching, or listening, it's your turn to go out and do something.